Hey guys, how you guys doing? I hope everybody's doing well. I hope everybody is staying home and doing the things they're supposed to be doing. As always, I want to tell you I love you, that I miss you. I can't wait for us to get back together again and be able to spend some time together. But today, I just want to share some thoughts with you. And I was curious as to when you think about Easter, what do you think about? Do you think about the Easter Bunny? Do you think about candy? Family get togethers, pastel colors, maybe? All those things are good and cute. But when you think about the true meaning of Easter, those things seem so empty, especially given the circumstances that we're in right now. But I would tell you that when it comes to the true meaning of Easter, empty is a good thing. Now, normally the concept of something being empty isn't really a good thing, is it? I mean, empty brings about some unneeded stress, empty gift cards, an empty coffee cup, maybe, an empty wallet. So, empty equals no good, right? Well, you see, usually everybody and their mama gets together for Easter to celebrate a holiday that to them is empty. But I want to tell you today that empty is a good thing. When we look at Easter in the proper light and we understand what really happened, what really was going on, and why it is that we celebrate Easter, empty is a good thing. You see, when Jesus was murdered and nailed to that cross, they buried him in a tomb, basically a cave, and they rolled a huge, heavy stone in front of that tomb. And then 3 days later, something unbelievable happened. The tomb was empty. Luke chapter 24, verse 1 through 8 says this. But very early on Sunday morning, the women went to the tomb, taking the spices they had prepared. They found that the stone had been rolled away from the entrance, so they went in. But they didn't find the body of the Lord Jesus. As they stood there puzzled, two men suddenly appeared to them, clothed in dazzling robes. The women were terrified, and they bowed their faces to the ground. Then the men asked, "Why are you looking among the dead for someone who is alive? He isn't here. He is risen from the dead. Remember what he told you back in Galilee, that the Son of Man must be betrayed into the hands of sinful men and be crucified, and that he would rise again on the third day." Then they remembered that he had said this. Now I want you to go back. Let's back up for just a minute. I want us to take a look at a time that was a little earlier during Jesus' ministry, when he was telling the disciples what it was he was going to have to go through. This is Mark chapter 8, verse 31. And it says, Then Jesus began to tell them that the Son of Man must suffer many terrible things and be rejected by the elders, the leading priests, and the teachers of the religious law. He would be killed, but 3 days later, he would rise from the dead. Now, this is proof that Jesus is who he says he is. You ever heard someone make a bunch of claims about things they could do, but then they couldn't back it up? Jesus, he didn't do that. What we just read in Mark was that Jesus said that he would die, and then he would rise again after 3 days. And then he backed it up. Now, I can follow someone who makes a claim as huge as this and then backs it up. See, Jesus has power over death. Because Jesus died and rose again, because Jesus is who he says he is, Jesus has power of sin's greatest weapon, death. For something to have life, something else has got to die. Whenever you eat a fruit, you eat an apple, it has to be disconnected from its tree, right? This tree is its life source. It had to die to give you life. And Jesus is the one who says that he can give you life. He says, I can make it so that you will never really die. That even after life on earth is done for you, you will live with me forever because that's how much I love you. The empty tomb shows us that Jesus has power over death. That he looked death straight in the eyes. He took death's best sting and he beat it. How amazing is that? You know, there's plenty of people who go and they visit Jerusalem every year. Plenty of people walk down some of the same roads that Jesus may have walked down. And one of the places people love to visit is the place where historians believe that Jesus was buried. And guess what? That tomb is still empty to this day. Romans 6:9 says, "We are sure of this because Christ was raised from the dead, and he will never die again. Death no longer has any power over him." Jesus wasn't in the tomb 3 days after he died, and he isn't in the tomb today. And he never will be. See, Jesus is God, and he is alive forever. His body wasn't stolen, it wasn't in the wrong tomb, and it wasn't some magic trick. So, when we look at the true meaning of Easter, and everything that Jesus did for us on that cross, empty, it's a good thing. Empty means that Jesus is who he says he is. Empty means that Jesus has the power over death. And it means that empty, in this case, is permanent. Jesus is permanently alive. And death will never overcome again. And when we decide to follow him, instead of following our own selfish desires, we too can begin to really live. Guys, I miss you. And I pray that you continue to be safe. I pray that you continue to be well. I look forward to the time we can get back together again. But for now, we're going to continue to do what is safe, what keeps us safe, and what keeps our family safe, and what keeps others around us safe. Stay strong. I'll continue to pray for you. I will continue to lift you guys up in prayer. Rise. I love you. I miss you so much. And I just look forward to the next time we get a chance to see each other. Bye-bye.